Hi, I'm Mark from Roca Explorations. This is a gear review. It's such a great day here. I thought I'd do a few gear reviews in this beautiful location. I did notice my cheeks are pretty red because I was been out on the water every day with our wetsuits on because it's very cold here. We primarily, I do dive, but we use a remote operated vehicle, a deep trekker, DTG2 it's called, and we can go to 500 feet deep. Of course, when I'm using housings, I don't go that deep. So today we're going to review the Insta 361X. This is my first 360 cameras that I got about a year ago, and they've been workhorses. Like, I'm so impressed with these little cameras and what they do. I am not a techie person, so this is all new stuff to me. I'm a diver, used to be a commercial diver and spent my life in the water, so diving since I was 19. But anyways, let's get to the review. Let's review the housings. So these are rated at 100 feet deep. I've taken them past 100 feet deep. Like I say, these two housings I've had around for about a year. So this is the camera, the Insta 361X. So I guess this is a review on the camera and the housings. Like I say, this has been a workhorse for me. Some of the negative things are these are not waterproof like this. They're kind of water resistant, but there's like the USB port is exposed and stuff like that. The battery compartment is kind of sealed, but generally if it's raining you don't want to have these exposed. So that's why I went to getting these suits. So I've got this little guy. I've used them a few times. So it's got a flat contour to it. You gotta kind of pop it out of this black housing here, and then it has a lock on it, which is great. I love locks because you don't want anything catching these latches and opening when they're under the water. So you just push that down, open it up, and out comes that. Yeah, so that's it. This one does have it's got a clear rubber seal around it. And again, with rubber seals, you got to make sure there's no contaminants touching the rubber, because when you close it, put it under pressure and it's in the water will find where that little sand or a grain or a little rock is sticking in there, and it'll flood your compartment and kill your camera, which is bad. It's expensive and bad. So make sure that's clean. And then every once in a while, check it. You should feel a little residue from the silicone grease. You can get them at dive shops and stuff. You don't need a lot, but get silicone grease. I use a Q-tip. I'll take a clean Q-tip and I'll just gently re-lubricate it. And then it also helps, it just really helps it seal. And then there, it's locked. So this one's pretty slim. It stitches it out fairly well. This I think is only rated to 25 feet. 12, no, sorry, maybe it's only 15 feet. I should figure that out or I'll be killing my camera. But I've used it, so this I might use if I'm out in the rain or something. Like, the only problem whenever you use any of these dive housings is it pretty well mutes the sound. You can get a bit of sound, but it's not good sound. So you saw this thing fall out. This takes away the moisture. So of course, when these cameras are in here, the moisture builds up because these are like little computers, as they all are. They're stitching, they're doing whatever. They get super hot. So when they get hot, and then the outside air or the water, which is in this case is cooler, you'll get condensation on the lenses and it wrecks your shot. So make sure you use these moisture wicking strips. They come in little pouches like this. Get them on Amazon. Any photo place will have them. You can reuse these. You can put them in the oven on a cookie sheet at 300 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes, and then put them in a Ziploc baggie right away after they cool down a bit, and you're good to go. Only use these once. I've learned that. So if you try to use these more than once, then they're still a little wet. So yeah, so that's the one housing. This is an actual Insta 360. It's not a knockoff. So sometimes it's good to do that, to buy ones that are specifically made by the company that makes the camera. So this one has a great latching system. It's got a little, so basically you need 2 fingers for this. So if you're in the water, that's not going to open at all. So you just slide that up and it opens. Flip that up and flip that down. So you'll see inside here, I've got about 4 of those moisture strips. That's about what I run in these, and I find that's good for the waters we're in the Pacific Northwest here with the heat of the camera. So again, you always want to see where the buttons are, on any of these housings, and you just slide it in and then close it up. And now it's good to go. It's got a 1/2 inch threaded on the bottom, so again, you can use invisible Insta360 stick. These I use in the salt water. It's not any of the stuff in the salt water is fine as long as you really, really clean it with fresh water after and let it dry. You know, I've used these 2 housings, have probably got hundreds of dives on them, and these cameras, and like I say, they're workhorses. So in the stitching, you'll always see the bottom here. You can't outstitch that. So even if it's on the invisible pole, what it has done, which is kind of cool when it's on this, is it's made my ROV disappear. I was looking at it, I'm like, how come I can't see my ROV? So I could see this, but the ROV underneath it was invisible because of the stitching that it does with this invisible pole, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, so that's the dive housing. It's got the buttons here. You can turn it on. The hard thing here is you can't see it, but there's a little round screen on these, and it's right in that joint. So you can't barely see it. So I usually pick the setting, turn it on, slide it in just when I'm ready to go, and then hit the water. And these batteries are lasting me about an hour in the water in these temperatures. Above the water, out in the land, in the air, it's probably like an hour and a half if I'm lucky. So yeah, I have a lot of batteries. I just swap. So basically I'm working on an hour at a time. But you know, if you're diving, unless you're shallow and really good with air, an hour is pretty good. So yeah. So I've got 3 of these housing. One is that I don't even have here is really scratched up. So we're gonna have a future test, and we're gonna take it real deep. They rate these at 100, 120 feet or whatever, but I bet you they can go a lot deeper. So stay tuned for that. But I won't put a camera in it because I'm not that rich. Yeah, so that's the camera. You just flip open that little guy there, pull out the battery. So it's pretty easy to change the batteries. I keep spare batteries charged up, and in the bottom here is the US, or so not the USB. The memory card is in the bottom. I learned from experience, don't get too big of a card. 256 gig is too big and you can get problems with it. So I usually, most I'll go is 128. 64 gig is about what I use. And at 5.7K, 24 frames, you'll get about almost 3 hours out of a 64 gig in one of these. So that's a good size. And I think that's about it. So if you like this review, please press like and subscribe to help us out on our channel, and please comment if you have any questions that I might have missed something. Like I said, I learned from trial and error, and I've had a bit of error, so please drop me a line. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.